Hi guys, welcome to the last day of 12 days of Kathmas. Today I'm going to be talking about my goals for 2020. I'm not usually someone that likes to write down or speak my goals out into the universe because I personally feel like it makes me feel really bad about myself if I don't accomplish them then, and I don't want to just be beating myself up for things that I can't get done. However, most of these are things that are pretty self-controlled and I feel like it would be fun to share those with you guys. I have some channel goals, obviously, because we're here on YouTube, some personal and school goals and just general life goals. I do talk about mental health in this a little bit, so if you're someone who gets upset or just generally doesn't like to hear mental health talk, feel free to click off. I will catch up with you in another video. I don't want anyone to be upset by watching this video. If you're new here, I am currently running 2 giveaways. One ends on Wednesday and one ends a little later than that. I will link both of those in the description box down below. You can check those out. All the details on how to enter will be there. And of course, I'd love to have you subscribe. I have some fun stuff planned for this year. And let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start out by talking about my YouTube goals because we're on YouTube and I feel like that's what people are going to be most interested in. So my biggest goal, I think, is to try more indie brands on camera or just in general. I did my video talking about indie brands that I would like to try in 2020. Quite frankly, the biggest reason that I have not tried more indie brands is they tend to be a little more expensive, which is completely justifiable. They put so much effort into them. So many of them are even handmade, and you can just tell that so many indie brands really put so much love into their brand. So I'm not complaining about the price. It just doesn't always make sense for me to buy them, especially because you either have to hit a shipping minimum or pay $8 for shipping, which doesn't always make sense for me. However, I do really like the idea of supporting smaller independent brands just because it just seems like it fits with my personality to do that. And if I'm going to be promoting brands, it'd be nice to be promoting smaller brands once in a while that really do put all of that love into their products. I think my goal is going to be to try maybe one new indie brand every 1 to 2 months. It kind of just depends on my finances for the month and what other releases are coming out. I'm not going to stop buying more mainstream brands. I'm sure I'll still be buying my ColourPop and whatnot, so it's kind of just going to depend on what's catching my eye, what I want to try in that month. I actually do have an order placed and should be on the way soon. I might be able to get that up in the next month or so. I think their shipping takes a long time during the holidays. It's actually not a brand that I even talked about in my indie brands that I'd like to try. So yeah, I'm really excited about that, and I hope that you guys are excited about that as well. I definitely am heavily inspired by Amy Loves Makeup and wanting to try indie brands. I just feel like I always see them on her channel, always really unique, creative color schemes, and a lot of them have very unique shimmer formulas especially, which I love shimmers. That's kind of what has drawn me to that. In general, I want to put out more creative content, which I know that's kind of a very general statement. I have done a couple palette redesign videos in the past and those were super fun, and I don't really know why I haven't been doing that. I think it's just because there aren't palettes that are very everyone is excited about them, which is kind of the best palette to do a palette redesign for. But I think that would be something that would be fun to get back into. I really love Photoshop and designing my own palettes in Photoshop, so doing redesigns of popular palettes very much fits into my personal interests. I also have my Hogwarts house inspired eyeshadow tutorial series that I am planning, so that'll be 4 separate videos for each of the Hogwarts houses. I really love Harry Potter, and I think I just want to find a way to incorporate my other interests into my videos more. I'm very into fantasy stuff, love Harry Potter, love the Vampire Diaries, and I haven't talked about that a whole lot on the channel, but I'm so into those things, and I think finding a creative way to incorporate those into my videos would be really fun for me. I love to share my interests with people, and I'm sure that would help me connect with other people who have very similar interests to me as well. And on top of that, I do keep a list of all suggestions that I get from you guys, so I can try to stay on top of those as much as possible as well. Putting out content that you guys are interested in is always my absolute #1 priority when recording videos. I'd like to put out more colorful tutorials this year. I've kind of struggled to get inspired with colorful eyeshadow as of late. I think kind of since the summer of 2019 I haven't been as into colorful eyeshadow, which was kind of my thing for a period in time. I don't really know what happened happen, but I would love to find a way to really enjoy colorful eyeshadow again. I do have so much of it, and they are really fun tutorials to do. And I like love when I make a colorful look and it just turns out really pretty and it's fun and unique. I just don't know like why I haven't been as inspired to do that lately, but I definitely think the Hogwarts House series will kind of help me strike some inspiration with colorful makeup, and we'll see where it goes from there. And I think just more tutorials in general. I definitely will be doing some throwback palette tutorials per your guys' suggestion, and I just think using throwback palettes in general is really fun. I love seeing throwback tutorials, and I'm sure you guys would love to see more of those as well. And I would also like to make some more content focused on cruelty-free cosmetics. I have been cruelty-free for almost 2 years now, but I don't really make content that's necessarily focused on that. However, I remember when I was making the decision to go cruelty-free, it really helped me to like see other YouTubers talking about that, talking about their favorite brand, talking about things they learned going cruelty-free and like struggles of going cruelty-free, all those sorts of things. So I kind of want to make my channel easier to find for people who do want to go cruelty-free. It's really not going to change like the content that much, I don't think, because I'm still using all the same products and talking about all the same products. It's just like the way that I'm phrasing it to make it easier for other people who are either interested or new to going cruelty-free with their cosmetics to find my channel. I don't necessarily want to put a firm number out there for my channel to hit, because that is something that is incredibly out of my control. I feel like you could put out videos on a very regular schedule that are very unique, that people really like, and it's just, you always have to have that little bit of luck. However, I do feel it would be super awesome to hit 5,000 by the end of 2020. I don't know if that is a reasonable goal or not, because that would be over doubling my current subscriber amount. But that would be really cool as just a sort of potentially, if I hit that, that'll be really awesome. Those are my main YouTube goals. I would also like to find a way to get back into Instagram again in 2020. I used to be very into posting on Instagram, but I mostly just posted New York centric content, and as I've kind of fallen out of love with New York, which I'll talk about a little bit later as well, I kind of just have stopped posting on Instagram in general, and I don't really know what I want to post on Instagram. Like, I don't necessarily feel inspired by it anymore. It's just that I loved it so much at one point, and I think finding a way to get inspired by that again would be awesome. I don't know if that'll be in posting makeup content or posting more of my personal photography, which I have done a little bit of at the end of 2019, but we'll see. I just remember really loving Instagram and like curating a pretty feed at one point in time, and it would be fun to find that love for it again. Moving on to some more personal goals. Obviously, graduate school. I'm going into my final semester of college, and I actually only need to be taking 9 credits this semester, so I would kind of like to find something else for me to be doing with my time this semester, whether that be an internship or classes that I take outside of school to kind of better myself. Getting internships has been really difficult for me. I don't know what the deal is, but I kind of feel like even for like unpaid internships, they want you to have experience, and I'm like, so you want me to have other internship experience so that you can not pay me for 20 hours a week of work? Like, make it make sense. But it would be really awesome, especially if I could intern for a cosmetics brand, because obviously I love makeup, and it would be really cool to work in that world. I think it would be really fun, or just like a social media job in general. I really love cosmetics and social media. And then once I graduate, I would like to figure out by the end of the year if I want to go to grad school or not. I don't think I will start grad school this year because I would like to take a semester's worth of time off of school before going back, just because I've been in school for 16 years, so I'd like a break from school. But one thing that I've discovered throughout college is that as much as I love the art world, like I'm a photography major, I wanted to switch to basically a graphic design major, but it was going to set me behind a year, so I decided that it wouldn't be worth it. But I really love like everything about the art world and Photoshop and like the Adobe Creative Suite. I really love like all digital design stuff. I also really like the business side of the art world. I was very good at math in high school, at least up until calculus, and I always find numbers to be like fascinatingly interesting, and that's kind of like something that I really missed throughout the 4 years of college. and I'd really love to eventually find a job where I can do something that is utilizing my like very visual background and interest in the visual world, but also lets me utilize my interest in numbers. So I'm considering doing some sort of business degree as grad school, but I don't necessarily know like what the best degree for me would be, whether it would be a communications degree or a flat out business degree or like something working with like statistics or global business. I don't really know. So that's something that I would like to figure out by the end of the year. I kind of just feel like with what I want to be doing so far, I don't have all of the background that I need with school, but we'll see. And also once I graduate, I would like to move back to my hometown, Cincinnati. Living in New York was fun for maybe like the first year, and then I just kind of like, as I grew up a little bit, I just haven't loved it as much. I think it's like a really fun place to visit, and I think it would be a lot more fun if you're more established, but I do feel like it's really hard to feel settled here. Like at any point your landlord could raise your rent and you have to move, and you're always living in an apartment pretty much. Like no one really owns a place in New York unless you're like a very well-established person in your career. And I just kind of miss like normal life. Like living in a city to a degree is fun, but I don't think I want to live in a city as big as this one. And I also just really want to be close to my family again. Like I really always have the most fun when I get to go home and visit my family and spend time with them, and I think that's something that you can't really ever thoroughly convey to a 17-year-old trying to decide where to go to college, because that's someone who has spent their entire life being near to their family, so like they don't really understand what it's going to be like to not be close to them all the time. But I would definitely like to have the opportunity to be close to my family again. I do get to see my parents a lot more than the rest of my family, as my parents travel, so I can either meet up with them when they're traveling or they can come see me in New York whenever they want to. But most of the elder generation of my family doesn't travel. Both of my grandmothers really don't like flying, which like same, but I just suck it up. And one of my grandmothers doesn't want to travel at all, versus the other one will only travel if she can drive to where she's traveling. So I don't really get to see them as much as I would like to. I really only get to see them maybe twice a year, and I don't like that. I would like to be able to see them much more frequently. So I definitely want to spend some time at home. That's not to say that I'll never move again, but I want to maybe spend like a year or two just at home, getting to spend time with my family as an adult. It's really important to me. And I also just feel like it'll be easier for me to feel like settled living in Ohio. Rent is so much cheaper in Cincinnati. Like I could rent a 2-bedroom apartment for like $800 a month easily, and I just feel like I'll be less stressed all the time. I feel like the most stressful thing about moving back is going to be getting a car, because you pretty much have to own a car if you live in the Midwest, and I don't know anything about buying a car, and I don't really know like what it costs on a monthly basis. I definitely be buying a used one, because there's no need for a 21-year-old straight out of college to have a new car, in my opinion. I think new cars are such a waste of money, but I don't even know like what car insurance or any of that costs. So that's like the one thing that I'm stressed about moving back, but I'm sure I will be able to figure that all out in the summer after I graduate. And then probably the most important goal that I have for 2020 is to sort out my mental health. I haven't really talked about this on my channel ever, because I feel like it's really hard for people who have never suffered from mental health issues to ever truly understand what it's like and to be sympathetic about it. And I've just not wanted to open myself up to the potential negativity by talking about it. However, I have also really like been appreciative of when other people have shared their mental health struggles on YouTube or on Instagram or whatever, just because it does help me feel like I'm less of like an alone person in this endeavor. So I've pretty much struggled with depression for like all of college, like pretty badly, and that sucks. Just because it sucks, obviously, like it sucks, but then it's just, I feel like I haven't really had the college experience that I thought I was going to have. Like I've gotten to watch all of my friends have a really great time in college, and like they go to parties and stuff, and they just like generally love their college experience, and I haven't had that, and that's not something that I'll ever be able to have again. I'll never get to be a 18-year-old going to college again, so that's like really sucked. And it's always like I've been off and on medication since before I turned 19, like the month before I turned 19, and it's just like I've been around to a lot of doctors. It's really hard. It's just because like I'm already like dealing with being an adult, living on my own for the first time, and like with doctors and anything medical or mental health related, you are really like the only person advocating for yourself. My insurance kind of sucks, which is something that I'm dealing with right now, and it's just like when you're already dealing with the fact that like life feels so dull that you just don't want to get out of bed like ever, it's really hard to then like gather up the motivation to be like making all the phone calls that you need to see a doctor and actually go to the doctor and talk to people and talk to your insurance to deal with billing for that and medications and all of that. It's insanely difficult, and I don't think there's any way to put that into words for someone who's not dealt with it to like really understand how difficult that is. And I definitely didn't think like when I first went on medication before I started my sophomore year of college that this would be something that I was still dealing with going into my final semester of college. So that does really suck, but I'm definitely just trying to like not stay hung up on that fact and like focus on life after college, and that even though I maybe didn't get to enjoy college like so many people do, that I might be able to eventually enjoy life after college. I do have a doctor again. They are someone who's out of network and they're raising their prices, which really sucks. I don't know if I'm gonna be sticking with them or trying to find another doctor, and I do have an appointment lined up to actually talk to a therapist. I haven't tried therapy since I was a sophomore in college. It's never been a great experience for me. I just find it really hard to actually like talk to a stranger about life. We'll see how that goes. If that's something that you guys want me to keep you posted on or you want me to talk about more, I definitely can, but I also like I don't want to bring people down by talking about it, and I definitely don't want to I don't want to make a thing of it. Like YouTube is a nice, happy, I don't want to like say a safe space, but I know it is a place that a lot of people come to escape the stresses of their daily life. So I don't want to like remind people that like, hey, life actually kind of sucks when I post my videos. That is definitely like the most important goal for me in 2020, and that is again something that is like a little bit out of my control. Like there's only so much I can do to change that, but I can put my best effort forward, and I do think moving home and being with my family again will definitely help with that. I don't think it's going to fix it, but it will help, and I'll have more of a support system. So yeah, those are my goals for 2020. Some fun goals, some maybe not so fun goals, but either way, thanks for listening to them. I'd love to hear what your goals are for 2020, if you have any, or resolutions, or whatever you would like to call them. I will link my 12 Days of Kathmas playlist over here. That way you can check it out if you've missed any of the videos. Thank you guys for hanging out with me for the past 12 days. I'm really proud of myself for actually pulling it off and posting 12 days in a row. It's nice to feel like I can actually accomplish something. So thanks so much for watching. Happy New Year, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.